Everybody, it's Dan. So last night then, the Spanish basically said that everything's going to go into lockdown today, and then today they're going to tell us exactly what lockdown actually means. We just popped to the shops to get some last minute supplies. Things you forget really, things like frozen chips, razor blades, deodorant. But I think we're going to be on lockdown for a couple of weeks, actually. So we're stocked up anyway because we sort of bought stuff for the last 3 weeks. We just bought extra whenever we went to the shop, so all the stores were still full, but we just bought extra just to stock up, so we've got a pantry full. But we're just getting extra bits like, you know, chips and that kind of thing. I'm just now going to Carrefour to go get another USB camera to plug into the wife's laptop, because in a week or so she's going to have to teach from home, so we're going to stick her in front of a whiteboard with a USB camera and the tripod so it looks cool, so her students don't end up missing out because the schools are shut. So it's all kind of interesting. Lidl this morning at 9 AM was a big queue, about 30 people outside. You get in there and everything's almost gone. There's no frozen food left, the fruit and things like that, but a lot of frozen stuff has all gone, and you can see it on people's faces. People are kind of panicking a bit. We're about 2 weeks ahead of the UK right now, so I see people on social media still doing meetups, still doing networking events, business as usual, and I'm like, you're just an idiot. You know, it's like, you can see what's happened in Italy, you can see what's happening in Spain, you're 2 weeks behind. What is happening and has happened in other places is more than likely an 80%, 90% chance going to happen in the UK, and people still meeting and greeting and shaking hands and saying, oh, all this non-shaking of hands, it's ridiculous, business as normal. And I'm like, dude, you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting your family at risk, you're putting your kids at risk, you're putting your team at risk, you're putting your business at risk. Why would you do that? Like, let's say that nothing bad happens. Awesome, you just had 2 weeks at home, you know, everything's fine. But if conversely something bad does happen and everybody gets it and 1 or 2% of the population dies from it, older people are still part of the population. I don't see why we're saying about why, oh, it's only older people or ill people. It's like, oh, that's all right then. Let's just get rid of fat people or ginger people or whatever. You know, it's ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous thing to say. I don't understand that. Your responsibility as a human being is to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your community, and protect the planet. That's the bottom line. So that's why we're doing it. Don't need a rant from me about that. You'll have your own opinions about it. But anyway, that's us today. It's 9:30 in the morning. Once we get back today, that's it. We're basically on lockdown ourselves. We're not going anywhere, we're not seeing anyone. We've got enough food to last a month. It might be overkill, it might be an overreaction, and if it is, then that's okay. We just got loads of food available. Save on shopping next month, and if it's not an overreaction, then we've done the right thing. But nobody knows until you know, and then it's either too late or the right thing. So you've got to make your own mind up on that. Anyway, I hope that's useful in some way. I hope it might alleviate some fears in some way. I don't know. It might just absolutely scare the living bejeebers out of you. Who knows? We're driving through where we live, the little village, and all the coffee shops are closed, which is highly unusual. The only shops that were open was a queue at the tobacco shop. They have a tobacco here, so it's a specific tobacco shop. So the queues out there, and the queues outside supermarkets going into supermarkets. Not massive queues, and the people inside the supermarkets much busier than normal. But for us people who aren't prepping anything, you know, if they got like a week's worth of food and we're on a 2-week lockdown, I don't know what happens to that. You know, you have a responsibility to plan, as far as I'm concerned, and people aren't planning, and it's like, well, it's your responsibility, you know. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll speak to you on tomorrow's video if we do one. Who knows? We'll catch up with you later. Take care. Bye.